How much pressure do you have to perform from day one?
There's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. I've been getting pressure since I was 10 years old. I don't think there's no pressure for me because I'm doing something that I love to do. And that's play the game of basketball.
Here he comes the other way. There's your first James jam.
Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life.
I'm not going to guarantee no championship. I tell you that. I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Oh, block!
Making, as the FBI director said, there's a man who lost $1.8 million. That means he has a lot of money, so he has an addiction to that, those fish that they talk about that they were bringing in. So gambling is an addiction which can make you make illogical decisions regardless of your ethnic background, regardless of your physical background, and regardless of your fight.
Is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year
NBA and fraud. What a wild combo. The whole league's been turned upside down ever since the FBI cracked open that massive gambling scandal. Mafia ties, hidden bets, and secret deals. It's like something straight out of a crime movie. Players, coaches, even diehard fans are losing it over how deep this mess goes. October 23rd, 2025. That's the day the shockwave hit. The arrests dropped like a bomb, shaking every corner of the basketball world. From disbelief to rage, heartbreak, to confusion.
Used other cheating technologies such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down.
Everyone had a take on what this meant for the game they love. Inside the NBA, things got especially heated when three legends went off live on air. Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith didn't hold back for a second. When Shaq spoke, the whole room went quiet. You could hear the disappointment in his voice, like a man watching the sport he loved get dragged through the mud. He said it straight. This wasn't some mix-up or misunderstanding. Every single player gets trained every year on gambling rules. They know exactly where the line is. Then Shaq dropped the question that everyone was thinking. Why risk everything when you already have it all? Kenny Smith came right back with fire. He wasn't defending the act, but he was trying to explain it. He said addiction doesn't care about logic, fame, or how big your bank account is. To Kenny, this wasn't about greed. It was about control slipping away. He basically said, criticizing gamblers for bad choices misses the point. This is what addiction really is. But Barkley? Oh, he wasn't buying a single word of it.
That secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down.
Chuck came out swinging like he was still on the court. He called it plain stupidity. He said, "You can't fix games, period," and couldn't wrap his head around millionaire players risking everything for what he called pocket change. The back and forth was electric. It wasn't just good TV. It showed how divided people are about this whole mess. Are these players victims of addiction? Or did greed finally catch up with them? Coaches and active players tried to stay calm in public, but their reactions carried the same weight. Pacers coach Rick Carlisle, who also runs the National Basketball Coaches Association, called it a shocking day and a serious situation. What's even crazier? These arrests happened just one day after the league held mandatory gambling rule meetings.
Ain't got nothing to do with addiction. That's just total stupidity on these two.
Talk about timing. Carlisle said he tried reaching out to Billups but got no response, and Lakers coach J.J. Redick, still fresh off his own playing career, said it best. The scandal was all anyone could think about. Teams jumped into damage control mode fast. Anti-gambling meetings popped up in every locker room, but even that didn't stop the panic spreading through the league. Inside NBA offices, the vibe flipped overnight, from opening week excitement to full-on chaos.
It's not, mince words. This is the insider trading saga for the NBA.
One executive said it felt like going from party mode to disaster mode in seconds. Another agent admitted he wasn't shocked it was happening, just shocked they actually got caught. He said, gambling's everywhere, and now nobody can pretend otherwise. Even the Players Association had to step in, dropping a polished statement trying to calm the storm. They said the integrity of the game remains our top priority, but also reminded everyone that every player deserves due process. It was a careful dance, protecting their members without looking like they were defending corruption.
Kenny is, man, this ain't got nothing to do with damn gambling addiction. This ain't got nothing to do with addiction. These dudes are stupid. Why are they stupid?
Under no circumstance can you fix basketball games.
But the internet didn't buy the Calm Act for a second. Fans on X went wild over the mafia rumors. Some called the league out for preaching integrity while promoting betting apps, calling it straight-up hypocrisy. Others demanded tighter rules, especially for prop bets tied to player stats. Reddit's been blowing up too. On RRNBA, one of the top threads is asking if this scandal is just a few bad actors or proof of something rotten deep inside the league. And over on RR Bill Simmons, someone joked, "Shut the whole thing down." But behind the jokes, there's real fear. People are asking, can we even trust what we're watching anymore? Then came the politicians. Senator Richard Blumenthal called for national guardrails to stop corruption from spreading to other sports. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, a diehard Knicks fan, said the scandal shocks the conscience. And Representative Paul Tonko didn't hold back either, calling it,
We have to realize gambling is an addiction. So the addiction of it is what makes you make illogical decisions. So not because you make
the inevitable fallout of the unchecked sports betting boom. Meanwhile, the betting giants, DraftKings and FanDuel, scrambled to do damage control. Both dropped statements calling the allegations disturbing and promising to boost integrity efforts. But critics were quick to clap back, saying those same companies made billions from the culture that caused this mess in the first place. Talk about irony. So what's next for the NBA? And maybe all of pro sports? First, major changes are coming. Commissioner Adam Silver has been begging for stricter federal rules on gambling, especially on prop bets linked to player stats. And now his calls are louder than ever. Second,
Everybody that's at play. And I don't like to sit up here and be hypocritical about certain things. I homeboy gamble, Arnie. Bet it. We've been on teams. We played cards. We played spades.
enforcement's about to get serious. The NBA already cracked down on injury report rules and started fining teams that try to hide info. But this scandal showed how many cracks still exist in their system. The league cleared a guy who the FBI later arrested. That's not just bad optics, that's flat out embarrassing. And the biggest problem of all? Trust. One viral post said it best. If you can bet on these games, why would you even believe they're real? That's the nightmare scenario. Once fans start thinking the sport's rigged, everything falls apart. The entire foundation of pro basketball depends on belief that what you're watching is real competition, not a setup for gamblers.
They would give us forums on what and what not to do. One of those things where if somebody asks you if a certain player is playing, you say no. So all these guys knew what was at stake. And I'm just ashamed that they put themselves and put their family and put the NBA.
We've seen scandals before, like back in 2007 when referee Tim Donaghy got caught leaking betting picks for games he officiated. The league barely survived that one. But this time it's different. Way bigger, way deeper. It's not one rogue ref. It's players, coaches, even former staff caught in a web that runs years deep. To understand just how wild this thing really is, you gotta see how the FBI cracked it open. This wasn't some small group tossing bets for fun. It was a full-blown criminal network that ran deep from late 2022 into 2024, and maybe even earlier. It was called Operation Nothing But Bet. And the feds said the setup was genius in its simplicity. Clean, sharp, and nearly impossible to spot at first.
$1 million, and you're dealing in certain things, like how much more do you need?
He continued.
Especially if you get caught, you can do jail time, lose your career. Put a bad image on yourself or your family or on the NBA. I agree with you, Chuck. They dropped.
Here's how it worked. Insiders, people close to players, coaches, and team staff, leaked secret info before games. We're talking stuff nobody outside the locker room was supposed to know. Who was hurt but keeping quiet? Who was sitting out? Who'd play limited minutes? That inside scoop went straight to the gamblers. And those gamblers made their moves fast. They weren't guessing, they knew. If a player was hurt, they'd bet the under on his points before anyone else even heard the news. That's not gambling, that's guaranteed money.
This is the insider trading saga for the NBA. And the fraud is...
One FBI agent even said it was like insider trading on Wall Street, but with sneakers and scoreboards. Court papers listed at least 7 NBA games tainted by this setup. It wasn't just Lakers, Bucks, or Hornets, Pelicans. Even smaller matchups got hit. In April 2023, when the Magic faced the Cavaliers, word leaked that starters were sitting.
4 of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily...
Somebody dropped an $11,000 bet on the Cavs. And sure enough, Cleveland destroyed Orlando 118-94. That's no coincidence. That's a play straight from the script of corruption. The ring had its own cast of characters. Names like Eric Spook, Ernest Mars, Fairly Vino Locks, and Shane Head and Sugar. They ran everything from coordinating bets to laundering money. Cash apps, wire transfers, even old-school envelopes stuffed with cash. They used every trick in the book.
Stupid. And I'm just ashamed. Under no circumstance can you fix basketball.
But what made their scam so dangerous was their focus on prop bets. Those single-player stat wagers like, will player X score over 20.5 points? Since sports betting went legal, prop bets have exploded. Americans threw down over $100 billion on them in just the first 8 months of 2025. And this crew? They saw it as a gold mine. They turned what looked like harmless fun into a billion-dollar manipulation machine. But here's where it gets darker. Because this scandal isn't just about some hustlers gaming the system. It's about the NBA's own risky dance with the gambling industry. Critics warned this would happen. Former Senator Bill Bradley said back in 2024 that the NBA's cozy partnerships with betting giants like DraftKings and FanDuel would open the floodgates for corruption. And now that warning sounds prophetic. Betting ads flood every NBA broadcast. Every timeout, every scoreboard, every podcast. And the league profits off it while pretending it's all about fan engagement. Commissioner Adam Silver has always defended legalized betting.
Of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily rare. It reflects how deep and how far this investigation reached and the skill and the persistence it took.
He said it helps catch fraud by tracking suspicious betting spikes. And the irony? That's exactly how this entire operation got exposed. Sportsbooks flagged strange betting patterns, bets that made no sense unless someone knew more than the public. And that's what tipped off the feds. From there, the FBI followed the money trail and everything unraveled. But the second half of this story, that's where things turned straight up cinematic. The FBI launched Operation Royal Flush, and it sounds like a Hollywood crime flick gone wrong. Picture this: underground poker rings running in Manhattan, the Hamptons, Vegas, and Miami. High roller games, secret invites, champagne, and whispers of easy money. But beneath the luxury, total corruption. 31 people got indicted in that sting. The setup was both genius and evil. Wealthy marks were lured into exclusive celebrity poker nights, thinking they were rubbing shoulders with NBA legends. Players like Billups and Jones gave the games legitimacy, the kind that made billionaires drop their guard.
Refused to pay. These defendants did what organized crime has always done. They used threats, they used intimidation.
But here's the twist. The whole thing was a setup from the jump. Every single person at that poker table, from the slick dealers to the so-called random players and even the staff, was in on the con. And the tech behind it? Absolutely insane. Prosecutors revealed that the card shuffling machines were secretly hacked. They weren't just shuffling, they were scanning every single card mid-shuffle, predicting who'd get the winning hand and sending that info to someone watching from a secret location. It didn't stop there. The chip trays had tiny hidden cameras reading cards in real time. Some of the crew wore special contact lenses and glasses that could see invisible ink marking the cards. And those X-ray tables? They could literally see through face-down cards like something straight out of a spy movie. When prosecutors showed pictures of the setup at the press conference, it looked less like a casino and more like a sci-fi crime lab. Here's how the whole scam played out. The offsite operator got the data from the hacked shuffler, then passed it to a quarterback sitting right at the poker table. That person would send secret signals, maybe a tap, maybe a nod, guiding the crew exactly when to bet, fold, or raise. Together, they drained the rich players dry. Millions gone before anyone even realized the game was rigged. One victim lost $1.8 million in a single night. By the time the FBI swooped in, the total losses had already passed $7 million. And when the victims couldn't pay up, that's when the muscle showed up. Real mafia enforcers sent to collect. The gambling ring wasn't just high-tech. It was powered by organized crime. A wild cocktail of celebrity faces, greed, fear, and cold intimidation made this one of the craziest cases federal agents had ever seen. The mafia's role wasn't some side note. It was the engine driving the whole operation. The Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese families weren't just hanging around. They were full partners in the hustle. These families already owned New York's underground poker world, so when the rigged tables started popping up, they jumped on board instantly. They set them up, took their cut, and used brute force to make sure debts got paid. Federal prosecutors broke down just how deep the corruption went. Extortion, threats, even an armed robbery just to steal one of those hacked shuffling machines. Out of 34 defendants in the poker case, 13 were directly tied to the mafia. That included Ernest Aiello, acting street boss of the Bonanno family, Louis Apac, and Amar Flapper Poker A, both Gambino associates, and Matthew the Wrestler Dino from the Genovese crew. The names alone sound like characters from a mob movie. But this was all real. And the money trail? A total maze. Millions were laundered through fake shell companies, crypto wallets, offshore accounts, and even old-school cash handoffs in parking lots. It took 4 years for the FBI, Homeland Security, the NYPD, and the Waterfront Commission to piece it all together. They called it one of the most complex cross-agency investigations in years. Now everyone's asking, how did NBA figures end up tangled in all this organized crime chaos? Turns out it's not as random as it sounds. The games were hosted in exclusive hotspots: Manhattan, the Hamptons, Miami, Las Vegas, the kind of places where athletes, celebs, and billionaires all cross paths. When someone whispers about a private high-stakes poker night featuring NBA legends, that invite's almost impossible to turn down. But here's the real twist. Some insiders think a few of the players caught up in this might have been victims before they became part of the operation. One gaming analyst said, "Players always worry about getting cheated in private games. That's why pros stick to casinos or circles they trust." In other words, some might have walked in just looking for fun and walked out trapped, blackmailed, indebted, or both. Still, prosecutors aren't buying the innocent angle. To them, everyone at that table made a choice. Federal investigators are convinced. Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones knew exactly what was going down. Both are now facing major charges: wire fraud, money laundering, and illegal gambling. Each wire fraud count alone carries up to 20 years in prison. That's real time, not just headlines. The NBA moved fast once the news hit. Billups and Rozier were immediately put on leave. No hesitation, no soft PR move. Just straight suspension. Commissioner Adam Silver came out with a hard statement within hours, saying, "The league takes these allegations with the utmost seriousness, reaffirming that the integrity of our game remains our top priority." But behind that polished press release, one question keeps echoing. How did the NBA's own system miss all this for so long? The league already investigated Rozier back in 2023 and cleared him. Now that looks like a massive embarrassment. One front office executive even admitted privately, this might destroy fans' faith in the NBA's ability to police itself. And honestly, that's not an exaggeration, because what's unfolding right now is huge. The feds say this is just the beginning. Here's how the whole empire fell apart. The FBI found not one, but 2 overlapping operations, both running inside the world of pro basketball. The first was the insider prop bet scheme, where confidential info about player injuries and lineups was being leaked for profit. The second was the high-stakes poker network, secretly backed by 4 of New York's most infamous mafia families: the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese clans. Yeah, you heard that right. The mafia and NBA insiders tangled up together in 2025. At the press conference, FBI Director Kash Patel described it like something straight out of a movie. A massive coordinated takedown stretching across 11 states. Dozens arrested. Charges ranging from wire fraud and money laundering to extortion and even armed robbery. This wasn't just some underground side hustle. It was organized crime on a national level. Federal prosecutors revealed that the rigged poker ring alone bled over $7 million from its victims, while the insider betting operation may have moved hundreds of millions in dirty wagers. This is, without a doubt, the biggest corruption scandal to ever hit professional basketball. And investigators say it's still growing. Every week brings new names, new leads, and new connections. And of course, everyone's asking the same thing: who else is caught in the crossfire? That's where things start getting messy. A few star player names are starting to surface. But one name is stirring the loudest reaction: LeBron James, not because he's accused of anything, but because of who he's connected to. LeBron's longtime friend and former Cavaliers teammate, Damon Jones, allegedly broke that bond in the worst possible way. Jones, who's been seen around the Lakers' facilities as an informal assistant and still part of LeBron's inner circle, is now officially linked to the investigation. That connection alone sent shockwaves through the entire league. Fans are in disbelief. Social media has been melting down with one big question. If someone that close to LeBron could be involved in something this dirty, what else might still be hiding behind closed doors? It's the kind of revelation that shakes not just reputations, but the whole idea of trust inside the NBA. According to the federal indictments, Damon Jones crossed one of the biggest lines in sports, selling private medical info about LeBron James to gamblers. February 9th, 2023. Just days after LeBron shattered the all-time scoring record, the Lakers were set to face the Bucks. Prosecutors say that's when Jones texted his crew saying Player 3, identified as LeBron James, would sit out with a sore ankle. That info wasn't public yet, not even on the official injury report. The gamblers moved instantly. They placed heavy bets on Milwaukee before anyone else even knew what was going on. And when the Bucks pulled off a 115-106 win, those inside bets hit big, massive payouts before the public even saw it come. But Jones didn't stop there. In January 2024, prosecutors say he leaked another tip-in that a different Lakers player would be on limited minutes due to injury. A high roller jumped on that info and dropped $100,000, betting the Lakers would lose. But the twist? The Lakers won. The gambler lost the money, but the crime was crystal clear, using insider health information to rig bets. Here's the key part, though. LeBron James had absolutely no idea this was happening. Prosecutors made it clear he's considered a victim, not a suspect. His own friend, someone inside his trusted circle, was exploiting access to him and cashing in on that loyalty. That betrayal hit harder than any loss on the court. Now let's talk about the trio whose arrests shook the entire sports world. Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones. Federal prosecutors say these weren't just bad decisions. This was a full-blown criminal operation. According to the indictment, Billups wasn't just another poker player. He was the face of the operation. They say he used his star power to lure in wealthy marks, known in the underworld as fish, convincing them that these exclusive poker nights were clean, fun, and legit. But once those high rollers sat down, they were trapped in a rigged game from the first hand. The setup was pure spy thriller stuff. The FBI showed that those luxury poker tables were loaded with X-ray sensors reading face-down cards, chip trays hiding micro-cameras, and shuffling machines modified to predict winning hands before the deal. Even the dealers were in on it, wearing contact lenses that let them see cards marked with invisible ink. And prosecutors think Billups may have gone even deeper. They claim one unnamed co-conspirator, fitting his description, leaked insider info about the Trailblazers, tanking a March 2023 game against the Chicago Bulls. Gamblers dropped over $100,000 on Portland to lose. And they did. Badly. Final score 124-96. That wasn't just a bad game, that was the last straw. Prosecutors say that March 24th, 2023 matchup was the breaking point. They allege Billups leaked word that several Blazers would rest and bettors jumped all over it. The very next day, the NBA suspended him indefinitely. Assistant coach Tiago Splitter stepped up as interim head coach, while Billups appeared in Portland federal court. He surrendered his passport and was released under tight no-gambling conditions, awaiting arraignment in Brooklyn on November 24th. Then there's Terry Rozier, known on the court as Scary Terry. But this time, the nickname hit different. He was arrested in Orlando, facing serious charges of wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. Prosecutors say his move cut right to the heart of fair play. On March 23rd, 2023, just a day before that Blazers-Bulls game, Rozier, then with the Hornets, was set to face the Pelicans. Court documents say he told his childhood friend, De Niro Laster, that he'd fake an injury and leave the game early. Laster and his crew jumped on that inside info and threw down more than $250,000 on underbets tied to Rozier's stats. Sure enough, it played out exactly as planned. Rozier left after just 9 minutes, finishing with 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Those bets cashed instantly. Tens of thousands in profit split between Rozier and the crew. The NBA wasted no time. Rozier was placed on immediate leave and prosecutors pushed for $10 million bail. His attorney eventually struck a deal using his $6 million Miami mansion as bond. His lawyer argued that Rozier wasn't running a scheme, that he got caught in something way bigger than he realized. But the evidence? It's piling up fast, and the feds aren't showing mercy. This entire saga, from insider leaks to rigged games, has become one of the most explosive scandals the league's ever faced. And if the reports are right, this investigation is far from over. Defense attorney Jim Trusty fired back with force, calling the accusations based on spectacularly unreliable sources and denying that Rozier ever faked an injury. But while the legal teams battled it out in headlines, another name kept resurfacing. Damon Jones, the man caught in both criminal operations. Jones is facing charges tied to the insider betting scheme and the rigged poker network. Beyond his connections to LeBron James and Anthony Davis, prosecutors say Jones acted as a face card for the underground ring, helping Chauncey Billups lure wealthy players, executives, and investors into those fake high-roller poker nights. What looked like a luxury hangout with NBA legends was really a carefully engineered setup to drain wallets and wash dirty cash. Now, some analysts are trying to calm the storm, insisting this scandal is just a few bad actors in a massive league. But critics aren't buying that polished narrative. Sportsbook insiders claim legalized betting helps expose fraud through pattern tracking, sure, but others are calling it what it really looks like, a broken system. How can the NBA partner with billion-dollar gambling companies while pretending the sport itself is still untouchable? The contradictions are impossible to ignore. For the accused, though, the stakes are sky high. Wire fraud conspiracy alone can bring up to 20 years in federal prison. And with money laundering stacked on top, we're talking decades behind bars if they're convicted. This isn't just about broken rules. It's careers, reputations, and maybe even the league's entire image on the line. And the FBI isn't close to done. Federal officials have already confirmed more arrests are coming. The indictments even list unnamed co-conspirators, and insiders say some of those names could belong to other NBA figures still under investigation. The next few months are about to get messy, because when defendants start cutting deals, secrets start spilling. The hunt for lighter sentences could blow this case even wider open. What's certain is this: the FBI just exposed one of the biggest criminal networks in modern sports history. NBA insiders, mafia muscle, and high-tech cheating tools, all linked in a single multi-year operation that ran right under the league's nose. This wasn't a few bad apples gone rogue. It was a full-on system built around money, power, and the blind spots of a league too obsessed with gambling profits to see the danger creeping in. Now, the NBA faces its hardest test yet. Can it rebuild trust with fans who feel betrayed? Can it patch the cracks in its walls before another scandal leaks through? And can it keep chasing those billion-dollar betting deals without completely selling out the integrity of the game? Time's running out, and the truth's still unfolding fast, because one thing's crystal clear: this story isn't ending anytime soon. Every file, every leak, every plea deal adds a new layer to the chaos. The league wanted engagement. Now the whole world's watching closer than ever.